The story doesn't begin with a motorcycle. It begins with a feeling. A tension. A pulse in the air that whispers that something extraordinary is approaching. Something that isn't built to participate in the world of motorcycles but to disrupt it entirely. The kind of machine that bends rules, breaks expectations, and leaves everything else looking outdated the moment it rolls onto the tarmac. That feeling is the arrival of the 2026 KTM 990 RCR. Imagine the moment before a storm. That heavy silence, that eerie calm, the kind where the air feels almost alive, as if it's holding its breath. And then, without warning, lightning tears across the sky, announcing its dominance. That is exactly how this machine enters your world. Because the 2026 KTM 990 RCR isn't introduced. It erupts. The first time you see it, you don't look at it. You react to it. Your heart beats faster. Your breath pauses. Your mind tries to understand how something can look this bold and this aggressive without even moving. The sharp lines, the aerodynamic cuts, the winglets that look less like aero pieces and more like weapons designed to slice through the air, everything screams intent. And that intent is simple. To own the road, the track, and every rider's imagination. Every inch of this motorcycle looks like it was carved from pure adrenaline. The front fasten narrows into a predatory glare, like a hawk zeroing in on prey. The tank is sculpted for grip, the seat is built for aggression, and the tail section is sharp enough to make shadows flinch. You stand in front of it, and you already know. This thing will not be ridden gently. Then you press the ignition. And the world shifts. It doesn't start up. It awakens. A deep, raw, thunder-loaded growl cheers out of the exhaust. The kind of sound that vibrates inside your chest like a warning to your heartbeat. Brace yourself. It's the LC8C engine, a 990cc parallel twin tuned for violence, breathing for the first time in your presence. And even at idle, it doesn't sound calm. It sounds impatient, restless, like a beast pacing inside a cage waiting for the moment it gets unleashed. Twist the throttle slightly, and the whole bike tightens. Not like a machine, like something alive. You feel a surge, not of power, but of potential. Like the bike is telling you, that was nothing. Ask for more. And when you throw a leg over it, that's when reality shifts. The seating position locks you down, forcing you forward into a stance that feels like you're preparing for battle. Your chest lowers, your arms stretch, your spine aligns, and suddenly you're not on the machine, you are part of it. This is not a motorcycle that adapts to your comfort. It demands you adapt to its purpose. Because the KTM 990 RCR is not built for casual riders. It's built for those who chase limits, hunt speed, and treat every corner like a question that only bravery can answer. The moment you release the clutch and roll forward, you feel it. The sharpness, the precision, the instant response that makes every input feel magnified, amplified, electrified. You flick your wrist gently and the bike surges ahead with a smooth but threatening pull, like a lion taking its first step before the sprint. The torque hits early, hits hard, and hits without apology. There's no dead zone, no hesitation. This engine is tuned to attack the road from the very first RPM. You click into second gear through the quickshifter, and it feels like a rifle snapping forward. Clean, instant, violent. Every gear after that feels like a punch delivered by a machine that enjoys hitting harder each time. The chassis holds that power like it was forged to control madness. The frame is lighter, the geometry sharper, the feedback more direct. You lean into a corner, and the bike doesn't turn, it dives. It drops toward the apex like a shark cutting through water, hunting the perfect racing line. The suspension reads your movements, your intentions, your aggression, adapting instantly. You brake hard, and the world shifts around you. The Brembo-style McCalipers don't slow you down. They grab the road, compress time, and snap the bike into submission with brutal precision. The front dives, but never too far. The rear stays stable, but alive. Everything feels on the edge, but never out of control. There is a moment, every rider feels it, when you realize the bike knows more than you do. It understands the corner. It understands the lean. It understands the limit. And it's daring you to trust it. Then come the hidden elements. The parts of the 990 RCR that no brochure, no spec sheet, no review can truly explain. Like the invisible aerodynamic channel funneling cooling air directly toward the engine without stealing stability. Or the titanium subframe that feels impossibly light yet brutally strong. Or the micro diffuser under the tail that calms turbulence at speeds you might never admit you reached. But the wildest part, the AQ that learns you. Not the road, not the weather, not the conditions. You ride it hard, and it becomes harder. Ride it smooth, and it becomes sharper. Push it, and it pushes back. The machine studies you, adapts to you, responds to you until the boundary between rider and motorcycle fades. You stop thinking about what you're doing. You just do it. You lean without fear, accelerate without hesitation, brake without doubt, because the 990 RCR isn't just supporting you. It's evolving with you. Halfway through your ride, you realize something that sends chills through your entire body. You're not controlling the bike. The bike is unlocking you. Those instincts you thought you never had. The precision you didn't know existed. The confidence you didn't know you possessed. They come alive. Because this machine was built for riders who want to feel everything. Every vibration, every surge, every risk, every victory. When you hit the straights, the engine screams, not with noise, but with purpose. You feel the front wheel flirt with the sky. You feel the rear tire claw into the asphalt. You feel the entire bike tighten around you like it's preparing for a sprint that physics might not approve of. But the KTM 990 RCR doesn't care about physics. It negotiates with it, and most of the time, it wins. The straight ahead of you stretches like a burning fuse, long, dangerous, and ready to ignite everything the 2026 KTM 990 RCR has been holding back. The moment you open the throttle fully, the bike doesn't just accelerate, it unleashes something primal. Something that feels less like motion and more like teleportation. The surge is instant, brutal, addictive. The world around you blurs. Not because you're going too fast, but because your brain is struggling to keep up with the violence happening beneath you. The engine screams with a pitch that sounds like metal being torn open by raw power. You don't hear it, you feel it drilling through your ribs, rattling your lungs, vibrating inside your chest like a second heartbeat. The LC8C Twin is no longer a machine, it's a storm. A storm that you are riding, guiding, trusting, and barely controlling. As the revs climb, the 990 RCR shifts personality. From a disciplined weapon of precision, it becomes a wild beast demanding to be unchained. The traction control flickers, almost offended that you're pushing beyond what most riders would even attempt. The aero winglets grip the air like claws trying to anchor you to the planet, because without them, there's a chance you might actually leave the ground. And then, you brake. But braking on this motorcycle isn't braking. It's confronting reality. Because the Brembo-style McCalipers clamp down with such violent clarity that it feels like the earth is pulling you back with gravitational force. The front forks dive in a controlled collapse, the rear tire grips so hard you feel the asphalt beneath you twist, and the bike snaps back into composure with military discipline. Now you're entering a corner, one of those corners that normally make riders hesitate. A high-speed sweeper with a blind exit. But you're not hesitating. Not on this bike. You lean. The bike drops instantly. You feel the tires carve into the road with the absolute certainty of a scalpel cutting through skin. Every vibration, every micro-adjustment, every tiny shift in weight is communicated through the chassis directly into your spine like coded messages. The 990 RCR isn't just obeying you, it's anticipating you. Before you even think about tightening the line, the bike tightens it. Before you prepare for the exit, it prepares. Before you roll on the throttle, it's already ready. You accelerate out of the curve and the bike slingshots you forward with a force that makes the horizon jump closer like someone dragged it toward you. No hesitation, no softness. Just raw, engineered aggression. The AQ continues to learn. It adapts. It evolves. It begins to understand what kind of rider you are. Are you cautious? Are you bold? Are you reckless? Or are you the type who wants to fight the machine to see who brakes first, you or it? The deeper you push, the deeper the bike unlocks itself. You switch to track mode, not because you need it, but because now the bike has earned it. The throttle becomes razor sharp, the engine braking becomes aggressive enough to feel like you threw a parachute, and the suspension stiffens into a weaponized platform built only for apex hunting. You start dancing through corners. The bike becomes an extension of instinct. Left, right, lean, drop, accelerate, brake, flick, lean again. Every action flows into the next with a rhythm you didn't even know you were capable of controlling. The 990 RCR is no longer something you're riding, it's something you're wearing, like armor forged out of speed. You hit a tighter section of the road, technical, challenging, built to expose weaknesses. But instead of slowing you down, it makes you stronger. You trail brake deeper than ever, the rear dancing lightly behind you like a trained fighter shadowing your moves. You snap into lean angles that feel illegal. The knee nearly touches the asphalt. The wind roars past like a waterfall of air. And through all of this, you're smiling. Not because it's fun, but because it's terrifying in the most exhilarating way. Then comes something unexpected. A sudden elevation change, an uphill crest. You know what's coming. The front wheel gets light. Very light. The bike whispers, "Do you trust me?" You hold steady. The bike lifts, just enough to remind you it's alive. Then the aero and electronics work together to settle you back gently, almost respectfully. Almost like the bike enjoyed teasing you. But it's the hidden behaviors of the 990 RCR that truly define it. The quiet things it does when you're pushing it to the edge. Like how the engine temperature stabilizes under extreme load because of the stealth cooling channels hidden under the tank. Like how the tail diffuser eliminates rear-end wobble at speeds that would send most bikes into chaos. Like how the slipper clutch allows you to hammer down through gears without a single complaint. Like how the ride-by-wire system delivers throttle response smoother than thought itself. These features don't scream for attention. They work in silence. But they're the reason this bike feels like it was designed in a wind tunnel, built in a lab, and tested in a war. You finally slow down. Not because you want to, but because the road ends. You pull over, the engine ticking with heat, steam rising slightly in the cold air, the exhaust still crackling with leftover aggression. You step off the bike, and your legs feel electrified. Your hands tremble, not from fear, but from the sheer intensity of what you just survived. You remove your helmet. The world feels quieter, slower, smaller. Because when you ride a machine like the 2026 KTM 990 RCR, everything else in life feels muted. No conversation, no routine, no problem. Nothing compares to what this bike makes you feel. You turn around and look at it. It's not glowing, it's not roaring, it's not moving, but even in stillness, it radiates power, presence, dominance. You understand now why this bike isn't built for everyone. Why it demands respect. Why it rewards courage, why it punishes hesitation, and why once you ride it, nothing else will ever feel enough again. Because the 990 RCR doesn't just change how you ride. It changes who you are when you're riding. It transforms you into the version of yourself that only exists at full throttle, full lean, full trust. It shows you what it feels like to push past your limits, break past your fears, and exist, truly exist, inside the razor-thin line between control and chaos. The ride ends, but the fire it lit inside you doesn't. Because the 2026 KTM 990 RCR is not a motorcycle. It is a challenge, a test, a mirror that shows you exactly how far you're willing to go to feel alive. And once you've met that version of yourself, there is no going back. This is the 2026 KTM 990 RCR. And this is what it means to be unstoppable.